Now, apparently, this clip has the internet buzzing. I mean, it is ringing all across my timeline. So much so that literally scrolling, I would say I probably did about 10 scrolls, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And out of them 10 scrolls, I've seen this video at least 4 times. They said, this is a must listen. Judge Joe Brown absolutely destroys Kamala Harris, calls her a media crafted fraud, says she was financed, says she financed her 2004 run with money she got from positions Willie Brown appointed her to. Y'all know Judge Joe Brown is not a fan of holding back or holding his tongue. So let's go and hear what he has to say.
Maybe you could answer the question most of America is asking outside the Democratic Party or Oprah Winfrey at the DNC. Who is Kamala Harris?
She's a fraud.
In what respect?
She is an image that's been carefully crafted. You can start with what she is. She has a certain paint job, but that doesn't make her what she claims. And we have somebody that has a fabricated reality. I was just mentioning it a minute or two ago. She talks about she was that child on the bus integrating the schools. And if this was in California, I don't get it, because at that point I was a school teacher in LA, California, and we didn't have segregated schools. When she got in kindergarten, first, I was a playground director with the city school system. We didn't have segregated schools in the entirety of California. Both of my parents were school teachers. What they did is they shuffled the teachers around, but
right,
you went to school in your neighborhood. So I don't know where that study came in. So smoking dope in the dorm rooms, listening to Tupac. He was 11 years old when she was in the dorms. And when he cut his first single or release, he was 21 and she was a prosecutor in Alameda County, California.
So, wow, I see why they're telling us to watch this so far. He just exposed so much in this small period of time, especially with the timelines, right? For her being installed, right? Being looked at as the golden ticket, Black woman. Let me separate those. She's perceived as Black. She's a woman. On top of that, this is an opportunity of a lifetime, right? And she's going off of joy. We need to do this purely off of joy and all that. Now, she's lying about her past. And it's going went over my head, because she's locking people up for smoking weed, then telling Charlamagne about how she smoked some weed, listening to Tupac, and that ain't even true, because Tupac wasn't even old enough. Wow. Does the lies ever stop?
That was a story she
Where
told.
do we go with somebody that will tell those things? Yes.
And that was a story she told to Charlamagne the God.
Foundation.
So when she goes to Howard, she graduates, becomes a lawyer, and becomes a DA. What kind of DA was she?
She was run-of-the-mill. She got some advantages when it came to running. She had a boss that she clashed with in the end to run against him after she disappeared for a couple of years. Nobody quite knows when. So what happens between 1998 and 2004? What is she up to? How does she finance the run? Well, she's with Willie Brown, the mayor of San Francisco, who had been head of the Democratic Party caucus in Sacramento. And he got her a job when she was in her 20s, where she was supposed to nominally be working 15 hours a week, but actually it amounted to 1 or 2 appearances a month. And she was getting paid $72,000 a year for that. And then he ramped it up so she got more than $120,000, being on a medical advisory committee where most of the rest of the committee members were all 70 or above, because they'd had a lifetime in the field of medicine, which she did not. So she got $120,000 a year to finance what became a campaign for attorney general in the San Francisco area.
Couple of things I want to bring up too.
Wow. Now, this is definitely one of those videos that Kamala Harris does not want to get out. I can tell you that right now. Wow. Shout out to Judge Joe Brown, man. This man has nothing to lose, and of course you're going to have so many people that's, he's just this, he's that, because he's going against it. But nah, man. What he's sharing is valuable information and timeline stamps.
In terms of being tough on crime. And we're going to look at that West Bank thing should be looked into. I hear that. But when you talk about being tough on crime, she proposed a bill in 2005 that essentially would allow you to be arrested 3 times before you actually went to jail. The police chief at that time pushed back on it and says, I can't buy Heather Fong served as police chief until 2009, says proposal is ridiculous. So when she says she was tough on crime, tough on the border, it doesn't seem in many respects her record reflects that. Is that what did you find, Judge?
That's like her being bused to school and her smoking dope in the dorm listening to Tupac. It's the fabrication. You put your finger up in there and see which way the wind's blowing, and that's what you try to do. Actually, her prosecutorial experience was an unmitigated disaster. I just interviewed a woman that was inappropriately caught up in that truancy thing for adults. A 9-year-old girl was caused to have a stroke, became paralyzed, and at 22 is still not fully recovered.
So, Judge, just tell everyone, just run out of time. Just real quick, what everyone said, it was, for example, if you cut school, they were actually pressing charges on parents. That was her idea to stop truancy.
Except in this case, the woman wasn't involved in that. The child was suffering from acute complications from sickle cell disease hospital. But Kamala Harris sicked some press on the woman to wait outside her home while she was expecting assistance, and it turned out to be an arrest. And the girl was caused to have a stroke. You know, this kind of thing is bad.
Wow.
And that's not what a prosecutor is supposed to be, because the prosecutor is supposed to deliver justice, which includes every now and then standing up and saying, Your Honor, in the interest of justice, the state wishes to dismiss these charges. And she never did that because she always played it to the camera.
And Judge, I watched you. You could talk for hours on this, but just to summarize, the American people have gotten one interview with the vice president. We'll see one debate with the vice president. If she becomes president, says she hasn't forgotten her values. She hasn't changed. If she becomes president, what are her values? What kind of president will she be?
She's a fascist. You can see strength through joy. 90 years ago, last month, in Nazi Germany, they came up with a program, Strength Through Joy. And it was exactly the same as the one she's proposing. 90 years ago, same year, they came up with a bureau to suppress misinformation. Waltz and Harris have been pushing that. 90 years ago, I
appreciate Judge Joe Brown, man. You can tell, he's just, I don't know if he's retired or anything, but you can tell he's at a point in his life like, look, man, we just gonna keep this thing thorough. I ain't got nothing to lose. And Kamala, oh my gosh. Hearing these stories about how the whole stroke situation, I can't verify that yet. I'm hearing all this stuff for the first time, and I have to go dive into it after the fact. But hearing about that, if that's true, man, that's just horrible. Knowing her salary rate went up just because she knew somebody, Willie Brown, it's horrible. You got people who actually qualify for these positions and work hard for these positions just to give it to somebody for absolutely, for something, but you can't see it in public. And I appreciate Judge Joe Brown for, calling her out, on her racial identity, how it's convenient in one room and how she's going to switch it in the next room. He's suggesting that she leverages her mixed heritage for a political gain without genuinely representing or understanding the Black community's needs. That's exactly what she's doing. Y'all better thank a union worker, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Doing all that. Now, we know Judge Brown has been very, very critical of Kamala Harris. Even before Kamala Harris was running for president, he's actually been somebody who stood up for Donald Trump, somebody who advocated, not necessarily advocated, but also, shared the truth despite the climate at the time being everybody who's in Hollywood or everybody who's in that realm of notoriety is against Donald Trump. He was one of the people like, nah, man, I'll rock with him. I rock with him super heavy. Kamala Harris, though, on the other end, I don't know. Let's read some of these comments. It says, this is the most powerfully articulate description I've heard. Why are we not seeing or hearing more of this? He totally exposes her incompetence and lies. Powerful. Definitely agree. Beyond powerful, man. Somebody says, yes, a wealth of info. According to Brown, she was not the little girl on the bus. That's one thing that we found out. Children went to school in the neighborhood at the time. She never listened to Tupac in college. He was 11 years old. She will confiscate guns, raise taxes, suppress information. Hashtag phony. Phony, phony, phony. Yes, phony ain't even a word, my guy. That's like, that might be the nice way of putting it. You know, mind you, at the time they showing this photo where Willie Brown was 69 years old and she was only 29. Somebody says Kamala Harris is an awful person. Such a liar, fascist. Judge Brown knows the truth about Kamala Harris. Somebody says, when in the hell will America wake up and realize liberals have been running the Nazi playbook from A to Z starting day one, man? Honestly, I don't know. We kind of lost hope here. You know, if I'm being honest, it's just the way the world looking as of today. I don't know, dog. I really can't call it. Let's read a few more, y'all. I actually found another video. It says Jakar Wright explains Judge Brown was not sued for talking about Kamala. So apparently he was sued for talking about Kamala. Now, this is unrelated. I was getting ready to end the video, but it just popped up in the comments. So why not?
Joe Brown telling the truth. Joe Brown been talking cash money bullshit and nobody's put a gag order on him. Right. Nobody's hit him with a cease and desist and nobody's threatening him with defamation, which means only one thing. He ain't lying. Right. So if he's not lying about her, why do we want her to be president? All they're going to do is use everything about her against us. Right. She's too busy f***ing everyone in the cabinet to run your country. That'll be the first thing they say. They'll attack her sexuality. Well, who do you got over there, Montel? Like, why do we want that? I think Black people should vote for Black Americans. Cornel West and Dr. Abdullah are Black Americans.
Now, this is a statement that I don't 100% agree with at all. I believe that I don't believe in the whole DEI aspect of anything. We're not just going to hire somebody just because they share the same skin color. You know, we fought against segregation. I'm not just going to blindly go, he has to be Black. You know, I just want somebody who has the better interests of everybody in that position, not just themselves. If they happen to be Black, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. If not, then hey, it's all right. We'll live.
We vote DNC. We're voting for liars.
Amen to that, though.
It's just that simple. The DNC is lying. I don't trust the Republicans either. Please vote for Kamala, because she'll make sure that when your daddy, when you're 12, you can get an abortion too. Like, we don't just need to make sure that we stop leaving fathers in the house that think it's good to impregnate their 12-year-old daughters. That sounds like more of the issue than pregnancy to me. Yeah. The one thing they didn't mention in that story was when her father was charged and sent to jail for it.
Whoa. Now, obviously, that story took a drastic turn. And we're not making light or shedding light on that whatsoever. Very, very tragic situation. However, we're discussing a totally different topic. But she pointed out something that was very important, despite everything else and what we disagree with it, whatever. She pointed out that Judge Joe Brown hasn't been contested. Everything that he's been saying and spewing about Kamala Harris has not been contested whatsoever, which can only mean one thing. It's true.